Hello and welcome to my thoughts on Night of the Living Apples. If you haven't read it yet, you can click here and I'll read it for you. Alright, everyone ready? Let's go. Before our story begins, we have a little prologue. So, 1,000 years ago, Celestia and Luna had an epic battle on the moon. I like that the Fluffykin Dream Factory is in the background. That's just good attention to continuity. And their battle was so intense, parts of the moon broke off and crashed onto Earth, conveniently in Ponyville. But these rocks were infused with Luna's hatred. Uh-oh. So now our story begins, approximately 1,001 years later. And now every single apple in Sweet Apple Acres is evil. This entire premise is kinda weird. Like, why do only apples get animated? How powerful are these apples? Surely they can't be that much of a threat. How do they hold those spears? Also, where do they get those spears? But the answers to these questions don't matter, and they swiftly take over Ponyville. How did they just roll over everyone? I don't think anyone fought back, and it's just weird, you know? And because these apples are so overpowered, Bad Apple just gets to be an arrogant little bitch, and I love him for it. I went through like 7 different serious voices for Bad Apple before I finally decided, what the hell, do something dumb, and it was perfect. This scene right here poses 2 very important questions that will also never be answered. 1. How the hell did Ponyville catch on fire? The apples are literally launching at other apples. I don't get it. And 2. Why is Luna here? She's just chilling here, fighting apples. And if Luna knows about it, surely Celestia knows about it. Also, since Luna's here, you'd think she'd be part of the plot, but she's literally not at all. So I don't actually think she's supposed to be in Ponyville. Also, this statue, 90% sure it's not supposed to be balancing on one leg on a ball. But that's really not important. What is important is that Pegasi and unicorns cannot fly or use magic. But loophole, alicorns can fly. Bad Apple didn't see that one coming. I'm really sad that we didn't get to see any of the uniforms that Rarity made for the apples. I really wish we could have. Uh-oh, the apples are planning on expanding. Good thing Scootaloo's hiding in this barrel. Also, I like that Pinky is dressed up. If this is a reference to something, I don't get it. But like the video if you get it. Along with Scootaloo, Fluttershy is having all the animals spy on the apples. Twilight then decides that it's a good idea to break Spike out of jail. They can send a letter to Princess Celestia without breaking the rule that Pegasi can't fly. Twilight is so concerned with not breaking these rules that she forgot that she can teleport. Also, I'm sure Fluttershy could put a note on a bird and send it to Canterlot. But I mean, come on, that's a dragon's job. So Pinky goes into the farm, tries to free Spike, but unfortunately she can't open doors. But more importantly, we meet Good Apple, who is the only green apple for some reason. I guess there was only one green apple in all of Sweet Apple Acres, but hey, that's not important. But anyway, Good Apple claims if he was leading the apples instead of Bad Apple, they'd all be good. And now we know what needs to be done in order to stop the apples. Honestly, I didn't believe him. I thought he was just spouting pointless exposition, because typically everything just gets magically resolved right at the end. But anyway, Pinky can't free Spike, some apple guards stare at her butt, and then dun dun dun! Flutterbat is back. And that's the end of part 1. Okay, so even though this plot is kinda dumb, oh boy, I'm getting into it. And even though part 1 basically only focused on setting up for part 2, I didn't really get too bored. It really helped that the first half focused on Bad Apple, while the second half focused on Pinkie Pie. They're just fun characters. The little prologue does a really good job at explaining Bad Apple. We know exactly what he's about. He just wants to conquer Equestria. Good Apple, however, is left a little mysterious. We know Bad Apple is the manifestation of Luna's anger, but what about Good Apple? Well, the prologue kinda gives a little hint to that too. Just one panel. How could you, sister? She looks genuinely sad there. She feels abandoned. It's just a quick showing that Luna has more than just hatred for her sister. But I'm sure we'll learn all about Good Apple as we move on to part 2. Now that Flutterbat is here, Twilight can use her to turn everyone into vampires. So I'm 80% sure Flutterbat is technically a bat and not a vampire, but YOLO, they're all vampires now. And the Cutie Mark Crusaders are given the most important job. Stay in the goddamn basement. Can they do it? Will they be able to complete this task? No. No, they won't. And along with their transformation, every pony is given sweet new names. Obviously referencing Nosferatu, Dracula, and Twilight. Hashtag Team Jacob. Pinkie Pie's got a good pun, and then there's Rainbow Dash, who neither has a good pun or a reference as far as I'm aware, but who knows, not me, that's for sure. Then, one by one, they suck the life from all of the apples. Man, poor apples. So, this page. I hate that they drew a full image and then divided it into 5 panels. It just bothers me, so I changed it.
Wait a minute. There's something different. Well, as an artiste, I did take the liberty to change a few minor details.
Alright, so they get to the farm, eat the apples, free Spike and Good Apple, and learn about the meteorite. I'm surprised Applejack didn't know about it, but oh well. And then Flutterbat breaks free of her restraints, which they probably should have seen coming because, you know, the vampire strength and all. I really like the dialogue exchange Fluttershy has with herself. I think it's neat. Alright, so now the apples are attacking all the ponies at the barn, and for some reason Twilight decides to try her magic again, even though it definitely shouldn't work. And once again, every pony gets demolished! Turns out taking the form of a vampire fruit bat did not help them at all. But hey, at least Spike's free, now we can tell Princess Celestia. JK, we're not actually gonna do that because Fluttershy saves the day. Turns out all they had to do was eat the apples, which Rarity and Pinkie did at the farm, while Twilight tried magic, Applejack kicked them, and Rainbow flew away. What a nice use of their new vampire powers. And now they fight some more apples. With Applejack punching them, and Twilight using her magic, which I'm pretty sure they can still absorb. It's a good thing Fluttershy can pick up their slack. And it's also a good thing they can't jump out of this bag, or cut it with their spears. The apples retreat, leaving the meteorite unguarded. But then, they unleash the ultimate apple creation, a giant apple dragon. So that's what they've been using Spike for. It's so obvious! Every apple is in one place. All they have to do is take out Bad Apple and swap in Good Apple. Then, he can influence all the apples to be good. And now, the Cutie Mark Crusaders fail their mission by leaving the basement, and then almost die. Twilight takes in as much magic as she can, but she can't hold it all, so she gives it to Spike, so he can fire the meteorite out of the cannon, conveniently causing it to explode and distract the Apple Golem, giving Rainbow Dash enough time to make the swap. Which she should just be fast enough anyway, I don't know why they needed a distraction. But I mean, don't get me wrong, that scene was really cool. And you know what else was cool? Rainbow Dash plowing headfirst through the apples. Typically, I give her shit for crashing, like always. But you know what? This was pretty damn cool. I'll give her a break. And it turned out, just like Good Apple said, all they needed was a good influence. The end. And then there's a little epilogue where Celestia talks about the moral of the story, and then the Crusaders misinterpret it completely, but whatever. I'm surprised the ending was as good as it was. It didn't magically get fixed by some Deus Ex bullshit. Like, I just kind of went into it expecting, they're just gonna get Spike out of jail and send a message to Celestia. Then she would just be like, Apple Beam! And then all the apples are good. I'm really glad that didn't happen. But no, Good Apple just saved the day like he said he could. Part 2 was just pretty good. Very action-packed and exciting all the way through. So, tldw, I came into the story expecting a meme, which it was. But oh boy, I was not prepared for such a good meme. The story is pretty dumb and full of plot holes, but it sure was a trip. Part 1 had a rocky climb, but you know what they say, Part 1 walked so Part 2 could run. So those are my thoughts, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and until next time.